For more than 55 years, Thunder Bay Hydraulics has helped keep critical equipment running through expert hydraulic cylinder repair and manufacturing. With in-house engineering, precision machining, and decades of real-world experience, their team solves tough hydraulic challenges for some of Canada's most demanding industries. Their mission is simple: a relentless pursuit of zero downtime. Learn more at www.thunderbayhydraulics.com.
A well-orchestrated, a well-informed, a well-timed referral moves the prospect from the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom.
When I was reading the book, you made a pretty bold claim at one point where you were saying, look at the biggest sales you've ever made in your company. Very likely it came from a well-timed and well-placed referral. And I got to be honest, Andrew, immediately I was like, bullshit. No way. And then when I went through and I actually thought about it, and I thought about the biggest sales we've ever made with capital business development, the best projects, the biggest clients, 100%. Every single one of them came from a referral.
The great Mark Cuban once said, business happens over years and years. Value is measured in the total upside of a business relationship, not by how much you squeezed out in any one deal. And we couldn't agree more. This is the Business Development Podcast, based in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and broadcasting to the world. You'll get expert business development advice, tips and experiences, and you'll hear interviews with business owners, CEOs, and business development reps. You'll get actionable advice on how to grow business. Brought to you by Capital Business Development, capitalbd.ca. Let's do it. Welcome to the Business Development Podcast. And now your expert host, Kelly Kennedy.
Hello, welcome to episode 336 of the Business Development Podcast. And today it is my absolute pleasure to bring you Andrew Z. Brown. Andrew is recognized as an authority in B2B referral marketing, strategic alliances, and sales acceleration. As president of Bridgemaker Referral Programs, he helps organizations unlock predictable revenue by designing and managing referral ecosystems that actually work. Andrew has launched more than 200 products, guided executives through high-stakes growth challenges, and served as a senior advisor to billion-dollar brands across North America. Often referred to as the father of B2B referral programs, Andrew's strategies have been featured in the Globe and Mail, Financial Post, and Profit Magazine. And his Amazon best-selling book, Get Referred, has become a go-to guide for business developers and sales leaders alike. If you're ready to stop chasing cold leads and build a referral engine that scales trust and drives revenue, Andrew Z. Brown is the expert you want in your corner. Andrew, it's great to have you on the show. Oh my goodness. Everyone listening, you won't have heard that, but I can't talk today.
Do we have any time left in the podcast?
I don't know.
No, I'm pulling your leg. It's a pleasure to be here. In fact, when you provided me with this opportunity, I thought, why am I here other than having a great conversation with you? And ultimately, I just want to share a message with BD and sales professionals in organizations, small, medium, and large. You can systematically harness the unique power of referrals and turn them into more profitable and more predictable business. So that's what I'm here. And Kelly, I'm so glad that you've invited me because it's always a blast talking to you.
I appreciate that greatly. And I owe you like multiple apologies. This has been probably the longest road to an episode that I've had in 336 episodes. Not to mention today, I was just so crazy that I almost missed it again. So my gosh, dude, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for putting up with me.
You know what? I'm going to invoice you afterwards. So yeah, we're good.
Oh,
we're good.
Goodness. Yeah, it's been a road, but honestly, I'm super excited about this conversation today because after reading Get Referred, It was a wake-up call.
I should hold up.
You should hold it up. Yeah. After reading Get Referred, it was a wake-up call for me. I think I told you before this.
Yeah.
I thought I knew about referrals until I read Get Referred. And I realized how little I actually knew, or how little I understood the referral process, or what was involved, or how to create what we're going to talk about today, which is a managed referral program, which is the right way to go about doing it. It was honestly eye-opening, Andrew. Like I said, in over 300 episodes, we have never talked to anybody about referrals. And I think our audience today is going to be super excited and super informed by the time they get to the end of this. 100%, they're probably going to go buy Get Referred, which is highly recommended. But the other part is that I think they're going to have their eyes opened to the power of what a managed referral program can do for them. So I'm excited to get into it with you.
I like to think that. And Kelly, to be fair, you're not alone, right?
Okay.
Don't feel badly if this isn't something that you've read about or had practice with. There are a number of things that have to come together in an organization in order for them to say, you know what, we should really give this a go. And sometimes it's an attitude. Sometimes it's experiences that they've had with other methods. And there are different approaches to referral programs, of course, just like with any sales development or business development initiatives, there are different flavors and there are different variations. So the fact that you haven't been exposed, don't beat yourself up on that. I shall beat you up later.
Okay, sounds good. I think the funny thing, or maybe the surprising thing for me, was how much intention is actually required to do this right? I think almost everybody is like, we love referrals. And we get into it in the book where there's parts where you talk about where the best referral sources come from. And I hope to elaborate on that with you today. But I think I was surprised because I've worked at a lot of different companies and none of them had a managed style referral program. Pretty well all of them were on hope and a dream.
Exactly. And that, Kelly, is a surprising proportion of companies that their referral strategy or their referral program is this, right?
Yes.
Cross your fingers and hope something comes in. And we know, all our listeners know, that if you want something done properly, if you want to see results, you have to manage things. You have to have intention. You have to have targets. There are skills that are associated with the success of a program. And just like how the field of project management, let's say, is a discipline, right? It's cross-industry discipline. It can be applied anywhere. You can launch a software with project management, or you can build a building complex. And the core tenets are the foundations of project management. That stays the same.
Yes.
And the same thing with good referral management as well. But to your point, organizations sometimes say, well, you know what? If something comes in, great.
Yeah.
And I want to take one step back because we will talk more, I'm sure, about the different approaches that organizations have about referrals. And every approach has its pros and cons. We all know that. Every initiative, every strategy, you're making trade-offs. You're making choices.
Yeah.
Resources and time tend to be finite, so you have to put your efforts where you believe you're going to get the biggest bang. And of course, that's managing. But let's just step back for a moment. Part of the confusion may very well lie in what we mean when we say a referral. So when an organization, when it's B2B, when there are big ticket offerings, services, or products, and a company wants to sell that, the buyer is going to be thinking, oh, that's expensive. There's risks involved. And we're trying to mitigate their hesitancy, all the negative emotions during purchase. And getting a phone call or just a casual conversation saying that Kelly's awesome is not going to cut it anymore. Not when the stakes are high, not when the risk is high. Those people who are looking to plunk down a whole whack of money and their ass is on the line. Can I say ass on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, when their ass is on the line within their organization, because of the money, because of the opportunity costs of making that investment in buying that that product or that offering, when that is at play, again, they need something more than just yeah, they were okay, or yeah, I recommend them. No, they need a full throated supporter, an advocate that says, you know what, this offering is right for you. It's right for you now. So there's an understanding of the offering and the product and the company that is actually selling the product or offering. There has to be that understanding. And that's when referrals just are amazing, right?
Yeah.
The power of referrals, and I'm sure again we'll talk about this later, but a well orchestrated, a well informed, a well timed referral moves the prospect from the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom. And think about the time savings that has when you
Yes.
bypass the top of the building awareness and dealing with consideration. So you actually blow your competitors out of the water by using a managed referral program because they're not even considered any longer.
Quick pause here, and thank you for tuning in and supporting the show. I want to recognize Hyperfab, a Canadian precision fabrication company built by the team behind Hypervac Technologies, supporting projects in both Canada and the United States. They focus on high-quality sheet metal, fast turnaround, and solving complex fabrication challenges when it matters most. Hyperfab is proud to be our title sponsor for 2026. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to the show. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we like unfair advantages on this show, so I'm all for it.
And this, yeah. And so this is why referral programs, as a systematic way to harness that unique power and that unique advocacy, has to be intentional.
Yeah. It was interesting because when I was reading the book, you made a pretty bold claim at one point where you were saying, look at the biggest sales you've ever made in your company. Very likely it came from a well-timed and well-placed referral. And I got to be honest, Andrew, immediately I was like, bullshit. No way. And then when I went through and I actually thought about it, and I thought about the biggest sales we've ever made with capital business development, the best projects, the biggest clients, 100%. Every single one of them came from a referral. I'd like to say that I was managing that. It was a hope and a prayer, and that's what happened, and it was great. But you were absolutely right. And it immediately got me thinking, well, what if I could have more control in this process?
And again, you're not alone. And that's not a bad thing that business comes from referrals. And there is a messiness that is inherent in managing referrals because you have to manage referral sources. And referral sources are people that need to have trust in you and also be trusted by the organizations you want to sell your offering into.
Yeah,
Right?
there's 3 people in every situation.
Exactly. I generally think of an Oreo cookie, right? You've got the company that wants to sell its offerings, companies that are potentially wants to buy the offering. So those are the cookie, the wafer part of the Oreo cookie. The middle part, the ooey gooey stuff that everyone really clamors for and that holds everything together, that's the referral source. And so all those 3 components need to be aligned. Otherwise, you get a mess, or the way that I bake cookies, they look horrible. So, so I don't bake Oreo cookies.
Oh goodness. Yeah, no, it's super interesting. And I want to get into this a little bit further, but
Sure.
like, how in the world did you end up on this path? Take us back to the beginning. Like, were you always heading down this path of referrals? What led you here?
Okay. So for about, over 30 years now, let's just say I had a lot more hair when I started.
Me too.
Right?
We share that in common.
Exactly. And let's say we'll both use this line going forward. We exchanged our hair for wisdom.
Sure. I like that. I'll take it.
Yeah. So for over 30 years, I worked in professional services, financial services, software as a service, digital marketing agencies to help companies grow by increasing revenue. And that meant I've held, again, some of those held senior executive positions in marketing, communication, business development, of course, and sales.
Yeah.
And during that time, I've written a lot of articles, but I also worked with, I don't know, 4 or 5 dozen tools meant to optimize every stage of the sales cycle, particularly generating leads, because
Okay.
that's where the glamour is, right?
Yeah.
And I consistently found that new, good quality leads were coming in via trusted referral sources, and that was happening in parallel to sales and marketing initiatives. And this is not to take a sledgehammer to those initiatives or those strategies, but the consistent, profitable business was coming via referral sources. So while organizations were building these infrastructures and budgets and content to deploy digital tools,
Yeah.
when it came to selling the big ticket items, those turned out to be secondary. And at the same time, I found that organizations that leverage referral sources that the way that organizations were leveraging referral sources had negative consequences. So referral sources were being overused, neglected, and disrespected. And as a result, businesses lost existing customers. They had reputational damage when
Yeah.
referral sources weren't representing a business well, or companies also alienated referral sources and lost what would have been truly high value leads. So I knew there had to be a better way to harnessing referral sources' energies and their enthusiasm while avoiding those real negative downsides. So while I was working inside and for these organizations, I started pulling together a methodology and found out, you know what? I'm not the only one that's doing this, but it does kind of fly under the radar. It doesn't get the airtime that's, let's say, we're going to go out and we're going to buy some new software.
Yeah.
Right? It just doesn't. But all of us know that, right? Implementing some kinds of some processes within organization, it's messy, it's time consuming, it's change management is involved.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that? And that's why I pulled together in Get Referred a methodology that can run completely in parallel with
Yeah.
sales and marketing initiatives. And
Yes.
you probably saw this in the book. People, and I encourage people, grab the book, go do it. There are things you can do today, right now, that will help you get on the train towards using referrals in a more systematic way. So again, I'm going to, of course, be a strong advocate. At the same time, and we'll get to this, I'm sure, not all organizations are ready for referral, for
Yeah.
a managed referral program. And that's okay.
Yes. In the book, you talked about, I think I want to say 4 referral systems. There's the hope and the dream, which
Yep.
is, I think, the one most of us are working with. There's the half-assed approach, which in your mind is the absolute worst because people tend to get neglected and hurt and beat up, and it's typically bad for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Then it was the channel approach, and then you have the managed program itself. Can you maybe break down each of these for our listeners so they can understand and maybe understand where they fit right now in the way that they handle referrals for their business?
Sure. I'll grab the 3. I'll touch on all of them. So the ad hoc, the close your eyes and hope for
Yes.
is just that's the activity. And when something comes in, you take it and you thank your referral source. Sometimes you don't. You just take it and you run along, and you don't learn from the process as to what they brought in, whether it's profitable, whether it's coming at the right time. You just take it, and you don't give constructive feedback to the referral source because you think, oh man, what happens if I give them feedback or try to impose any kind of structure? They won't bring anything back to me again. So there's a little bit of fear. So it's not as a transparent understanding necessarily. It's just a hope. And again, hope is not a strategy. I know I'm not the first person to say that. In fact, there's a book, Hope is Not a Strategy.
Yes.
The channel approach is the one that perhaps is the most widely recognized because you are leveraging other people's authority and other people's reputations and their connections. But channel programs, and I've run channel programs, have their own series of challenges. One being, or one fundamental assumption that isn't always true is that channel programs are built on the assumption that growth comes via scaling. Get more people, get more assets, get more people out there, and we will naturally succeed. But that forgets the time that's involved and the resource in order to manage that. The other thing about channel programs is that it largely becomes a one-size-fits-all kind of approach if you're running a program. You're trying to minimize the time, and you're placing the bets that, again, if you've got more people out there, you are going to succeed. So the way that you treat people is often approaches cookie cutter. And again, I'm not saying all channel programs, but these are common things that happen across channel programs.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if I'm a reseller of 14 different softwares, the company I'm selling into knows this. And they know that I'm going to recommend, or I could recommend those things
That
where
are
I'm going
beneficial to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it breeds a skepticism and actually a lack of trust between the buyer and the seller. And selling programs, finally, the other structural challenge with reseller programs is that it builds in increased cost in terms of acquisition. So let me explain what I mean by that. So if I am a channel reseller for a company A, and they give me, $1,000 to bring their offering in, that's the commission or the sales bonus I get. Company B is going to offer me 1,100.
Mhm.
And then company A's got to go back and say, okay, now it's 1,200. And it's this constant escalation of
Yeah,
cost.
it's not about what's best for the customer.
No.
It's about who pays the best commission.
That's right. So that's very much the channel. The ad hoc and the channel approaches are the most widely used approaches. Again, you
Yes.
mentioned a few others.
Well, I want to,
Yeah.
sorry, Andrew.
Go ahead.
I want to touch on half-assed approach. And I know this is like maybe the one that's a little bit harder to articulate, but I think it's important because I think there are a lot of companies that I've worked at who say, yeah, let's go and try and see if we can get this person to suggest us or who can we leverage to get into this company. Like I've been in a million rooms where that's the conversation. Who do you know that can get us into XYZ company, right? Which to me is the half-assed approach, right? There's nothing structured. We're just leveraging people to try to get into various organizations. But I want you to touch on that because it's actually dangerous.
And I do, again, the world is messy. Each of these approaches, they can bleed over one another, right? The thing that is consistent about the half-assed approach is not being straightforward with the referral sources that you want to use. Hey, Kelly, I would really love you to be part of my referral program.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. There would be no discussion like that.
No, there isn't. No.
Another element that's very consistent in the half-assed approach is Kelly. Well, Kelly's been referring us for a few times, so we're just going to slap his name at the back of proposals. And whenever someone asks her proposal, Kelly is the person that gets the call. Meanwhile,
I've seen these.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the organization's moved on and different people, different offerings, and Kelly hasn't been brought up to speed on any
Sure.
of these things.
Yeah.
So when a company phones and says, hey, Kelly, so I'm thinking about purchasing this offering, and they put you down as a referral source, tell me what you think about this. You are at a loss.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Right. Just because people have moved on, different offerings, maybe a different focus, maybe a different value proposition. So there you are, and it puts you in a tremendously awkward position, and it's really unfair. And so that's also very common to the half-assed approach. And as you can imagine, the damage that's done. So not only will the potential buyer say, "I'm sorry, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. Kelly didn't really seem to know much about what the company does or why I should do it or why I should join now." So not only does it do that, but it ruins the relationship with you.
Yeah. I'm left feeling abused.
Abused, neglected completely. And that's unnecessary. And again, I recognize that people are busy and sometimes putting things down in a one page that's nice and articulate as to who we're going after, why we're going after them, and who we should call. I understand that it takes time, but we would not expect a go-to-market strategy to be done without intention and without measures of success. Why would we do the same thing for referral sources?
Mhm.
So does that help?
Yes, it really does. And now please do lead us into really the main topic of the book and the most ideal way to handle a referral system and a referral program, and that is your managed referral programs. What is a managed referral program for people that probably haven't heard of it before, which is likely 99% of our audience?
So let me just step back just for a moment to say, who cares? What's the business advantage of managing referral sources? And when I started this, I saw tremendous results of managing referral sources. And I went out and saw that other organizations were testing and trying out to manage referral sources. And some of the astonishing findings, like 69% of B2B companies that, that use referral sources see deals move through the sales funnel faster. So,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants speed, right?
Yes.
For a number of reasons, for keeping your supervisors off your back, or it's because if you get the prospect moving along faster, they'll close faster, and you'll be able to take that money and invest it elsewhere in the firm. For a
Yeah,
number of reasons, we
absolutely.
want sales acceleration. 60% or near 60% of customers coming by referral have a measurably higher lifetime value than business coming without a referral. So lifetime value, so retention, who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
Over 70% of leads coming via referral are more likely to close than
Yeah,
leads
that's
coming without a
significant.
referral. So
Yes.
there alone, those three
Those
elements,
are three enough reasons.
yeah, scream, why should we harness referral sources?
Yes.
So what is a referral source? Let me give it in the most simple way imaginable to think. And that is this: do whatever you can to provide support to make your referral sources successful at bringing you the right business. That's the foundation. And the focus is on the referral source and making them successful. So we have to by extension, that means we have to understand the referral sources.
Yeah.
And it means we have to understand what it is that they need to be successful. And that is the foundation. That all of a sudden, when you start to think about a program that way, you get to ask a whole bunch of different questions.
Yes.
Right? I put in the book sort of a 7-stage model. That's not rocket surgery, right? It's a variation on a planning cycle, and all programs, you could say, have some elements of this. And again, it's very much driven by project management because we want to be able to establish goals, and we want to do some early validation, and we want to measure along on the way. So again, it's a very disciplined approach. But
Yeah.
if someone ever asks you about a manager referral program, again, fundamentally, it's we have to make our referral sources successful at
Yes.
bringing us the business we want.
Yeah. Yeah. And you touched on something that I think most people aren't really considering when they're going to ask somebody for a referral. And it's what do they want? Or like, how do we make them want to refer us? Most people are just assume that people are going to refer you. Well, if I ask Jill to refer me, she will, right?
Yeah.
But you're missing kind of the key motivators. And, we're going to get into key motivators because that one surprised me too. And that there's multiple, typically, not just one, but multiple motivators, 5 or so, that contribute to people's choice to refer you. And I look forward to that point. But you have to understand why they would want to do that in the first place. And I think most people just forget that altogether.
Brilliant. Exactly. One of the things I speak about quite a bit is what I call basic referral math. And that means that in order to get a referral source, and again, this isn't rocket surgery, right? These are things that we know. But to get a referral, a piece of referred business, the referral source has to have 3 things, and it's cumulative. They have to have all these 3 things, or they're never bringing you what you want. They have to have the skills to refer, they have to have the opportunities to refer, and they have to have the willingness to refer.
Mm-hmm.
And when we are evaluating, account-based marketing or business development tiger teams, when they go out and they say, okay, who within an organization should we be focusing on?
Yeah.
They're having these questions, not necessarily about referrals per se, but this idea of recognizing that people have to have the opportunities, the skills, and the willingness
Yes.
in order to bring the referrals that you want.
I want to pause you right there because, when we're talking all the time on the show, we're talking about your ideal customer profile, right?
Yeah.
An ideal customer has all 3 of those things. They have the ability, the willingness, and the skills to do so.
And sometimes people will say, well, you know what? As you said earlier, Kelly, can't we just ask Kelly to refer us? Can we just do that? You can, but keep in mind that when you ask them, you are asking them to put their reputation on the line. Again, we're thinking larger ticket items. So are you ready for referrals? Are you worthy of that?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you asking Kelly precisely? And are you putting them in an awkward position to ask them to bring referrals?
And the one thing people aren't always considering is that person, the person you want to be referring you. What is their character? What is their reputation? Maybe they don't have a great reputation. Now you're asking somebody without a reputation to refer your company, and guess what you get? A crappy reputation.
Exactly, which is why part of the process, that cycle of phases, is to actually take a look at referral source candidates and spend the time to understand. And again, let me go back to the channel sales reseller or channel reseller program, which again, some people think of as referrals. And we spoke earlier that channel programs assumes more is greater, right? It's scale.
Yeah. Yes.
Every managed referral program I have run in the last 30 plus years has been wildly successful with fewer than 10 referral sources.
Wow.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
The focus on literally a handful of people will get you better results than a channel program that will have dozens, if not hundreds of people. And think about the resources that are required. Now, it does take focus. It does take discipline. It means, wait a sec, Kelly may not be a great referral source for me now because we've gone through an evaluation to determine that. Maybe he'll be a great referral source in 6 months.
Sure.
So you keep those relationships going just as you would if it was a straight BD relationship. But there is that recognition that you do not necessarily get growth via scale. You get growth by virtue of relationships, and you help nurture those relationships. Actually, nurture isn't necessarily the right word. You support those relationships with the referral sources. Now, that support could mean a whole bunch of things. So if a referral source, you understand what skills they have. So again, when we can go into the different kind of skills that a good referral source needs. They have the willingness, and you truly understand the different motivations. but they
Yeah.
don't have any opportunity because they sit in front of their computer all the time. That's great. So as part of that referral program, you would be working with a referral source and saying, okay, what kind of opportunities would allow this person to refer our offerings to the target that we want?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very bespoke, right?
Well, and you keep touching on, and I think the piece that maybe the listeners might be missing from this conversation right now is that if you don't have one of those pillars, it's like a stool. I don't know. For people that have done photography, right? You have like the stool concept of photography. You need the right shutter speed, the right contrast. You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing with your referral sources, right? If they're missing one piece, it doesn't matter what other two pieces they have, the puzzle ain't coming together.
Precisely. And that's why, when we were talking about the earlier approaches, like the ad hoc approach, is because organizations will not have the discipline or the interest or the attention to say, well, does this person really have the skills to refer?
Yeah.
Again, and it can be very damaging when they bring in bad business. Again, we
Yes.
talked about that earlier. So you're right. It is a pillar. And again, under that rubric of referral math, skills, willingness, and opportunity. And I would encourage listeners, I always encourage people I speak to, build a referral program based on reality, not on the assumptions that you bring to the table about referrals and referral sources. And
Yeah.
that, as you said, that's one piece of reality. Referral sources have to have all those things together.
Amazing.
Now, not everyone is exceptional at all three. That's part
Yeah.
of the managed referral program to help fill in the gaps
Yeah.
when people are missing some of the skills. So maybe you run scenario workshops with them so they know what kind of conversations or what questions to ask or what to listen for. So you're filling in the gaps. Or if if you understand that their motivation is not necessarily monetary, and it rarely is just simply monetary, but maybe it's profile building. So you identify, how do I build a profile? How do I help that referral source build
Yeah.
profile? Because that's what's motivating them to bring essentially be part of our go-to-market, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, not everyone's going to be 10 out of 10 on skills, willingness, and opportunity. That's okay. That's okay.
Basically what you're saying is that ultimately, as long as they have, pieces of all and they're willing to do that, you can help them with the pieces they're missing.
Exactly. And the wonderful thing about a managed referral program is you can say, wait a second, we've identified 10 candidates. We understand what their skills, willingness, and opportunities are. We've identified the gaps. And you know what? We only have so much budget this year. So instead of focusing on all 10 of them, we're going to choose 3.
Yeah.
Or we're going to choose 5 because those 5 people we believe we can support better. We have budget for it. And we believe that there will be a return on those 5. Those other 5 that we've neglected for this year, we're going to keep conversations with, but we're not going to activate them. We're not going to spend time actively finding out ways to fill in the gaps that they have. And that's the power of a managed referral program is in advance. You know what the budget is before you spend $1 on helping them become better.
Oh, well, let's speak to that. Let's
Okay.
speak to the fact that most people don't even have a budget for a referral program.
Yeah.
How much money should companies be spending on referral programs?
So we know that referral programs have an ROI of, and I just saw some research done on this last week, at least 40 times.
Wow.
Should companies spend money on referral programs? I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to actually say be smart about it.
Mhm.
Before spending $1, check out the book. And Kelly, I'm happy to give away a handful of books for those enthusiastic people who are saying, I want to know if I should be doing this and when I can be doing this and how I should be doing this. I'm more than happy to. Again, the book was written so that people could execute them without me, without anyone.
So, Andrew, I'm just going to pause you right there. So, for the launch of this show, when you guys are finding this episode, head on over to LinkedIn, shoot me a DM, and the first 10 DMs I get, I'm going to grab your contact details. I'm going to shoot it on over to Andrew, and he can get you a copy of Get Referred. Thank you, Andrew, for doing that for us.
Thank you, Kelly. Oh, no, it's my pleasure because, again, when we go back to the why I'm here today, it's really to let you know that you can do this. This is not
Yes.
insurmountable, but it does mean rethinking a few things. One of them is by thinking about intention about referral sources. And it- there's this mindset about referrals that it's very passive, right? People bring you stuff. But passive doesn't mean that you don't have to manage it.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people kind of get caught. They think, okay, well, if it's passive, I don't have to do anything. Huh, what a relief, right?
Yeah.
But how many things in life are such that you just close your eyes and good things happen to you?
Yeah. Not very often.
Nah, that's, uh,
No, but I guess that is the difference between what we're talking about today is that most people are living that way. Most businesses are operating that way. Tell your friends, tell your family. We would love it if that opportunity comes, but we're not going to follow up on that. We're not going to wait. We're going to, I like to, I had an amazing mentor once who said, Kelly, when you get commissions and stuff and like people come into your era and just give you stuff, it's called pennies from heaven. We love pennies from heaven, but we never rely on it. Right.
right.
Shout out to Kevin Pitty.
And so, yeah, those things are wonderful, but they are pennies from heaven. They are few and far between.
Yeah.
You acknowledge them when they happen, but I would say you also go a little deeper. One of the tools actually that's in Get Referred is a very simple grid with two dimensions, right? One is the dollars coming from referrals, and then a time element, a frequency. How often does this happen?
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to go and take a look at their own internal data right now and take a look at seeing where referrals are coming from and start to plot that against the graph. And
Yeah.
ideally, you want to really focus on first focus is on those people who are bringing you great referrals at the frequency that you can handle and that you believe that the referral sources are capable of bringing. And if you've got that, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Let's spend some time with them and find out why that's the case.
Yes, because that's the other piece that most people are missing is we don't even understand why people are referring us.
Exactly. And that is very much part of this. We want to find out why people, and at the same time, the removing of why people are referring us is not the same as why people aren't referring us. So
Mhm.
a tremendous referral source may be not referring to you because they are conflicted out, right? They just can't because
Sure.
of internal policies, or maybe it's because they've got a wide network and they want to distribute referrals over the span of a number of different firms. There are several reasons so understand why people refer us, as well as understanding why they don't refer us, is a discussion that you want to have with those people who are referring.
I want to take that and I want to lead it into the best referral sources because this part surprised me. And, we already had a conversation about this where I was like, are you kidding me? Because I would have completely thought that my current customers were our best referral sources. But on the list of referral sources, your current customers fell short of pretty much every other referral source, which really blew my mind. Can we elaborate on that? Because I know that that's surprising people right now. Your customers are not your best referral sources.
Right. And again, Kelly, thank you for surfacing this. This does not mean that current customers will not bring you business. That's not what this is saying. This is saying that if you're looking for consistent, profitable business, that existing customers or clients are not on the top of the list of the people that you want to activate. It turns out that professional colleagues, former clients, former employees, suppliers, prospects provide referrals more consistently and better referrals than existing customers.
Please tell us why, because this part shocked me.
There are a few reasons. One, what I refer to as the babysitter effect. And if anyone's ever had kids and the pleasure of a great babysitter, you'll know that come Saturday night, you're not really anxious to share a babysitter who's really good.
Nope.
Sad to say, right? You go, well, I'm going to hoard that for myself.
That's right.
And the same thing happens with companies. If someone is awesome, organizations often go, well, wait a sec. If they're out there giving their offering to someone else, less attention will be spent on me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it is a valid reason, but I'm saying that it is a very common reason why existing clients and existing customers do not refer. The other reason that is that they know you. Every company, every organization, let's face it, is not perfect. We're humans.
None of them are perfect.
We're not perfect. And our organizations, our structures, our processes, we're not perfect. We're always trying to improve, which is what makes life exciting, but we're not perfect. And our existing clients and customers know this. They know maybe that our customer success group isn't firing on all cylinders, or they know that the billing isn't as smooth as it needs to be, or the integration team they're fantastic people, but they have issues with managing a lot of tasks at once. So they know warts and all what you're about. And so there is a reluctance to refer because they're not sure whether or not the experience is going to be positive for the companies that they're referring. And again, think big tickets, you're not going to put your name on the line.
Yes.
And why would you expect someone else to put their reputation on the line unless they felt really confident that your offering was right, it was right for the organization, and it was right for them now?
In your research,
what
was identified as the best referral source? Like, is it a past customer? Is it an employee? Was there any of them that stood out above all the rest?
If I remember correctly, I don't have the book in front of me, but it was professional colleagues. And that might mean that if you're an accountant, that might mean that it's someone that it could be a bookkeeper. It might be another accountant. It might be someone who provides advice, but it's definitely professional colleagues that have been time and time again the most consistent source of profitable referrals. Now, they can also be they're likely very busy and they're likely very skilled, and so the lovely thing about a referral program is that by identifying the right people, then you focus on that. So at a high level, think beyond your existing clients. Think about focusing more on the professional colleagues. And again, then apply, when you get there, referral math, right? The skills, willingness, and opportunity.
Yeah. You talk about a concept in the book for creating your managed referral program, and you call it the secret sauce.
Right.
Can you elaborate on what the secret sauce of a managed referral program is?
Fundamentally, what runs through the secret sauce is it's an approach to how we deal with people. It is one of coming to them with a sense of respect and not thinking of people as mere transactions, but people as a part of a trusted network. So the acronyms identify specific types of approaches, but every organization is going to be a little different in how they apply that. So even respect as a core tenet of the secret sauce. And when we were talking earlier about using someone as a reference on a proposal, part of that respect, how in one organization could be, we're going to meet with these references quarterly. and we're going to bring them up to speed as to what's happening within the organization.
Yeah.
That could be one organization's application of that quality, of that desired behavior. Be respectful. And other organization may apply that in a completely different way.
Sure.
So that's the secret sauce. And that's always encourage clients to sit down. And when you take a look at that secret sauce, think about how you would operationalize that within your organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, yeah, there's so much in the book. Like there's no way, I just want like the listeners to understand, there's no way we could touch on probably a quarter of what is in this book. So I am trying to hit on the key points just to try to keep them rolling and give them something they can leave with, right?
That's right.
One of the other things that I want to maybe chat with you about, and we talked about this really briefly, was the right size. Who should have a managed referral program? We're talking to people from organizations like billion-dollar organizations. We're talking to people that are solopreneurs.
Right.
Who can all benefit from referral programs. Let's talk a little bit about what makes a company ready for a managed referral program.
Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless plugging as well.
Sure.
We actually have a 15-minute on-demand webinar, so you can access it anytime. And it's called The 5 Steps to Getting Referral Ready.
Perfect. It'll be linked in the notes for this.
Thank you. And that in itself is a bit of holding a mirror to yourself or to the organization and seeing if you're ready. So let me talk about a couple of the components of being referral ready. Again, we've talked time and time again about the importance or the expectation that you have a referral source putting their name on the line, their reputation. So you owe it to a referral source to be able to quantify what your reputation is. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can think about your organization's reputation. You can take a look at the employee surveys that you run.
Yeah.
Okay. And so a reputation measure there that tells you about employee churn and that it's a great place to work. That's one measure that's part of that reputation and quantifying that. How about taking a look at feedback, online monitoring on what customers are saying? So that's another data point that you can pull together, a bunch of data points that you can summarize and say, this is what our customers are thinking about us.
Yeah.
So you need to you owe it to referral sources. And again, everything is going to come back to referral sources. Remember the primary tenet of a managed referral program, whatever it takes to help the referral sources be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They need that. It reduces their anxiety. And it also gets conversations going with you. It opens, if you will, opens the tent. When you start sharing with referral sources your genuine reputation, then there's a trust that you've just built with a referral source. You are actually reducing the likelihood that this is going to be a transactional relationship, but now it's a much stronger, deeper relationship. When you air your dirty laundry, regardless of how dirty it is. And a lot of this is stuff that you have within your organization. So there are a number of different things that you can do to capture a snapshot of your reputation and sit down and be completely straightforward with your referral source, the ones that you've gone through the evaluation of skills, willingness, and opportunity. And you've said, okay, here are the people that we really want to harness. Then be honest with them about your reputation. Capacity. Do you have the capacity to deal with the business that will come in via referral sources?
Yeah.
And so take a look at, unfortunately, a lot of organizations struggle with onboarding, new client onboarding.
Sure.
But you can't allow for that and still ask for referrals to bring in your business because it makes them look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So take a look at your onboarding and it makes sense to identify how you're going to treat the business that comes in via referral source. How are you going to treat those people better than through other marketing and sales initiatives. It doesn't have to be, rolling out the red carpet, but there has to be something that you apply. And it might be as simple as putting in your calendar that people coming in are going to be called by an account manager quarterly or monthly, or maybe during that first 100 days that they're going to be treated. They're going to be invited to a company event. It can be any number of things, but we have to identify something special. Again, think about the importance of dealing with that client coming in, because they're coming in via referral. So if something goes wrong with them, if they don't have an exceptional experience, not only are they going to be not happy, but the referral source is going to hear about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it is incumbent. And again, it doesn't have to be heavy lifting to do something special for organizations or opportunities coming through referrals. One client had a letter from the president just
Wow.
coming in, just a
Yeah.
welcome letter, thanks,
Yes.
and had that couriered to them.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be big.
Let's also talk about that. I interviewed a gentleman who owned a company called Cardly, and he put out a statistic that most people only receive about 2 pieces of personal mail per year. So imagine what a letter from the president signed and mailed to them personally means. It's one of probably 3 letters they get all year like that. That's huge.
It gives it an air of special, right? And that's when we're pulling together a program, you're identifying these referral sources, and you want to give them that sense that they're part of something special.
Yes.
Largely, I found consistently that referral sources are doing this. I mean, we haven't really dug into the motivations, but one thing that runs consistently across is they want to see your organization succeed. And often they want to feel like they're part of something special.
Yes.
And it doesn't take a lot to do that, but it is intentional, right? We have to allocate some time and a little resource to make someone feel special. And going back to your question a bit earlier about organizations and when organizations can do this, and again, about being referral ready, you have to be able to have the resource and the intent to treat people differently, special.
Yeah.
But this isn't anything new in a sense, because there've always been top tier clients that we treat special.
Yes.
There have always been market segments that marketing will message differently. So this isn't so different a concept.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. It's one of those things, too, where if you don't know how, you don't know how, right? Like, I'll be honest, guys, I was super surprised at how little I knew about referrals when I read this book. I literally talked to Andrew like a couple days after. I was like, dude, like I had no idea. I didn't realize how like in the dark I was. And I think anybody who reads the book will feel the same way. And it's not to make you feel bad. I think if anything, it makes you wake up and realize, holy cow, this is something we should maybe be considering, especially if you're part of a large size company that doesn't currently have a managed referral program. But, once again, if you've never enacted one of these programs, it could be a bit of a daunting task. And I imagine that that's where Bridgemaker referral programs comes in.
Thank you for that. So we have one objective at Bridgemaker, and that's we help organizations by giving them whatever they need to make their referral sources successful at bringing profitable business faster and more predictably. That's what we do. The organization, because it's built largely in my experience, we have worked with over 15 different industries in running out referral programs. Again, the wonderful thing about referral programs is it is industry agnostic. Again, I draw the parallel with project management or a sales management program, right? You can pick that up and you can move that. There are nuances for every industry, sure, but there are nuances for every organization. But that's what makes things exciting, a bit more dynamic. So they're industry agnostic and they're technology agnostic. I've had clients that didn't have even a CRM. Right? We were talking about organizations and what they need to have in place, and we touched briefly on referral readiness, but technology isn't an obstacle. You
Yes.
do not have to have a CRM or a PRM, right? A partner relationship management. No, you don't need a spreadsheet if you don't want to. So it is not technology driven. And again, the nice thing about the program is you can decide how broad you want this to be. It can
Yeah.
be, you can focus on 3 referral sources and go to town. You will be remarkably happy by applying this discipline to a handful of people. It doesn't have to be gargantuan. It's meant to give great results, and it does, but it doesn't mean that you have to put resource after resource after resource for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's it. And you mentioned too, like an average return of 40 times. Well, I think that's probably worth at least trying it, right? Like you might, you can't win the lottery unless you play, right?
Precisely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love this, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your time with us. And, one of the things we didn't touch on is that you're a bit of a prolific author. We're talking about one book, but it's one book of 4. Do you mind just briefly going over some of your other books for the listeners if they might want to pick them up?
Sure. Because of my background in helping organizations grow, and sales and business development and marketing has always been my passion. Get referred, obviously, how to increase sales velocity, volume, and value. I wrote a book called 2 plus 2 equals 5, and it's a guidebook. It's a playbook rather on how to build strategic alliances.
Wow.
Putting it out there, which is a playbook for how to manage channel reseller programs. And another book called Business Truths, which was one of the first books. And that's when I was a co-host of a successful business podcast. And we interviewed leaders from across the globe. And then we captured the essence of their learning
Yeah.
in, I think it's 96 lessons.
Wow. Wow.
But,
No, that's amazing.
But the focus right now, again, if I may, about the book, one thing I want to let everyone know is that I spent a fair amount of time on making sure this was easily digestible.
Yes.
Each section, and you can tell me, Kelly, if it's not, please call me out because I want to know.
No, I was surprised. I saw things in this book I've never seen in any other book, which one of the pieces you put in was the time to content, like the time to value. Like how long until you get to the valuable piece of this chapter. And dude, that was amazing. More books need to have that.
Thank you. Yeah, I made a few assumptions. One assumption was people are busy. They're not going to read from cover to cover. They're going to want to go and find out stuff that is actionable and actionable now.
Yes.
So there's a quick start guide. So you can go to, you know what? This is relevant to me. Go. I don't want to read about the approaches. I want to know how to build a program. Go straight to that section.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. Summaries that I thought were important to reinforce. Learning objectives. So you read the first section, you go, yep, that's important to me.
Yeah.
And I've designed it as well for you to read in 5 minutes. Each section has a key takeaway section. If you want to spend 5 minutes reading the book, just read the key takeaways, one at the beginning of each 5 sections, and you pretty much have the book. You won't have the dexterity and the nuance, but you'll have it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did read it end to end.
Oh,
and
good for you.
like basically the chapter endings were kind of like just a reinforcement. The like summary section was like just a reinforcement on my learning from it. So I think I got a lot out of it in one read, which, I think a lot of books, you need to read them multiple times to get that one read. But in certain ways, the way that you laid it out, it's kind of like you've read it multiple times if you actually read it end to end.
Good. Well, I'm glad that it didn't feel onerous.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was absolutely fine, and highly recommend. And like I said, per Andrew's generosity, there will be 10 books given away from this. Please do shoot me a DM. Hop on over to LinkedIn, Kelly Kennedy. Shoot me a DM, Kelly. I heard the interview. I would love one of the books, and if you're one of the 10, I will make sure that your contact information gets over to Andrew. So thank you so much for that, Andrew.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, as always, chatting with you. I'm happy to come back if the feedback is help and we can run a work session,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Or actually, I might get you into one of my other programs to come in and give like a quick over teaching session. We actually just launched the Catalyst Club. So by the time this comes
Which
out,
is
it'll be a
awesome.
year old, and there might be a great opportunity to do something like that. So I appreciate that.
It'd be a
If
pleasure.
people want to get a hold of you,
Yeah.
what is the best way for them to do so?
Sure. Email andrewb@getreferred.biz.
Perfect. You're on LinkedIn as well?
Correct on LinkedIn? Yes, I am on LinkedIn, and you're welcome to reach out. And I'll also was going to make an additional offer, but again, that time it'll be a while before it gets out there.
That's right.
That's by all means reach out to me. If you do mention Kelly's podcast, I'll take a 10-minute with anyone who mentions Kelly's podcast.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Andrew. That takes us to the end of today's show. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's the very first episode we've ever done on referrals. Believe it or not, on a business development show at 336 episodes. We have never done one. So you mark a first in our show. And honestly, you are a pleasure of a human to spend time with. And I've enjoyed every conversation we've had. Your energy is incredible. Your book is incredible. What you do is incredible. Thank you for spending time with me today.
Kelly, I can say precisely the same about you. It's a pleasure, it's a thrill to spend time with you, and I look forward to other opportunities to do just that.
Likewise. Until next time, you've been listening to the Business Development Podcast, and we will catch you on the flip side.
This has been the Business Development Podcast with Kelly Kennedy. Kelly has 15 years in sales and business development experience within the Alberta oil and gas industry and founded his own business development firm in 2020. His passion and his specialization is in customer relationship generation and business development. The show is brought to you by Capital Business Development, your business development specialists. For more, we invite you to the website at www.capitalbd.ca. See you next time on the Business Development Podcast.
Imagine pulling into your garage and watching your car disappear into the floor or rise into view like something straight out of a movie. That's what Atlas Elite Lifts delivers. Atlas creates stunning car lift systems designed for luxury homes, high-end condominiums, premium dealerships, and commercial spaces where design matters. These systems are not just engineered for performance. They're designed to become part of the architecture itself. And honestly, it's something you have to see to believe. So beautiful, it's Batcave ready. Visit www.atlaselitelifts.com today.